it should not really be a surprise to anyone that the examples of the differences between male and female characters in my stories that I made in the previous video are just something that I kind of thought of on the spot, and that the actual thing in the story, if I ever attempt to go a bit deeper into it and not just gloss over the issue or choose to not even acknowledge it, that present in my story, because at the end of the day, for the characters in that story, it should not be something that needs explanation at all. The only ones that might feel that an explanation is required are the readers, which is me. So if I do choose to at least touch upon these differences that I do think that should exist even in a setting that is completely different from our real world, just that they should not be based on whatever is considered a norm here, I will have to put some more thought into it, actually use my brain, which is a scary idea, and give it way more depth than what I've just mentioned in passing in one of my previous videos, because it's something that's more complex than pretty much anything that I've mentioned so far regarding protagonists, antagonists, characters, and world building of my story. It absolutely is confusing, but I think that I somehow, to an extent, understand what I am looking for and what I would like to attempt to achieve. Through various media, I've encountered many protagonists, and there is much to learn in terms of trying to write my own one and create a story that I would truly be satisfied with. It will definitely require experimenting and failing hard, but I do believe that at least trying to voice out my thoughts is helping me reach at least some sort of a conclusion, or at least set me up on a path that might eventually lead to some sort of a success, which is also something that I have mentioned before and definitely have repeated myself many times now, but I do find it important and worth mentioning even repeatedly. I will actually cut the intro short and move on to more Rapid Arrows adventures, because we are finally being introduced to another grand enemy of the club, how it all came to be, and the initial encounters with them. And it all started when Bohoshek, Yindra's classmate, approached him and asked the Rapid Arrows to help him retrieve his collection of heralds that a bully called Long Pole, based on the fact that he's all lanky, quite slender, usually seen wearing a pair of glasses, a red cap, and a red jacket and trousers. Bohoshek, being this small, rat-like, weaselly little boy, usually wears some part of clothing that is green, and thus the club members prepare a plan to ambush Long Pole, who's been always carrying the heralds with himself. So they find a place where he's going, and just before the trap springs, in the form of Speedy standing on Mirek's shoulders, ready to jump on the thieving bully, Speedy falls into the abyss in his own words, and that warns Longpole that something is going on. Living up to his name, he puts his long legs to work and starts running, still carrying the bounty, the heralds, with him. So a chase ensues, and after a bit of thinking from the club members, they manage to encircle Longpole and finally retrieve, after a short scuffle, all the heralds. Unfortunately for Bohoj, they are in a horrible state, all crumpled, and poor Bohoj laments that they were completely new. And with that, the task ends in a half success. Next time we see Longpole contemplates revenge on the little tattletale Bohoj, and as he's doing that, speak of the devil, he notices Bohoj walking on the. He is completely ready to rain vengeance on the little weasel, and a chase ensues. Bohoshek employing deplorable tactics, ringing the doorbell of an old man known for his short temper while he is running by, and he disappears from the side before the old man opens the door. So the person who the old man sees is Longpole. Thus Bohoshek succeeds in framing Longpole for the transgression. So now this turned into a three-way chase. Bohoshek, fortunately for him, meets the rapid arrows and immediately asks for help that Longpole is chasing him. So the club members stop the Longpole in his tracks with their fists, leaving him on the ground battered at the mercy of the old Dushek, whose belt is ready to administer punishment to who he thought was the perpetrator in the doorbell ringing incident. And after all this, Longpole, beaten, battered, his ass stinging from the lashes of the belt, swears revenge on both the Rapid Arrows Club and the old Dushek, somehow forgetting that Bohoshek was pretty much the source of all of his troubles, alongside the bad temper the Longpole has himself. For reasons unknown, Bohoshek has a change of mind and decides to join with Longpole and become an enemy of the Rapid Arrows Club, writing a letter to Longpole telling him of a meeting place and a way to defeat the Club of the Rapid Arrows, and that's in a superstition, maybe getting a cat's paw from a boy called Bristles based on his bristly, quite sparingly growing hair. In return for getting Longpole and Bohoshek the cat's paw, he requires a certain number of heralds. So Longpole goes to a newsstand and even explains the lady why exactly does he need all those issues of the Herald. She tells him that there is a new novel that starts with that certain number, but tells him that they absolutely don't care about what does he get for all these heralds. Longpole brings them back to Bristol's, and Bristol's promises to get them a cat's paw from a dead cat of an old lady living in the building when they come in the evening. And so they come, Bristol's gets the paw, but unfortunately for them, the old lady catches them and locks them up since they trespassed on her property, and she'll call the police in the morning. So the three boys, Longpole, Bohoshek, and Bristles, are locked up, but they got what they came for, the cat's paw, and to commemorate the event, Longpole proclaims the establishment of the Brotherhood of the Cat's Paw. The superstitious belief is strong in these three, and as if to prove the power of the cat's paw, Bristles manages to pick the lock that the old lady used to detain them, and they manage to escape triumphantly with the cat's paw in their hands. Next day, Longpole boasts to the rapid arrows, swinging the cat's paw in front of them, promising them all great misfortune, and it seems that it's working since Speedy falls off his bike, nothing new there. Yindra gets admonished by his teacher for being extremely unprepared. Yarka and Redcap destroy a window while playing football, and Mirek falls down the stairs. The later three seems to be extremely weird and improbable because Yindra is a top student. Yarka and Redcap have played football many times and never crashed a window before, and Mirek has never fell down the stairs before either. So all seems to point in the direction of the cat's paw actually bringing them misfortune. So Mirek, even though he points out that he is not superstitious, still calls a meeting to deal with the long pole and their newly formed brotherhood, and especially deal with the misfortune bringing talisman, the cat's paw. And that's where I'm going to stop for today. I'm going to talk a bit more about some protagonists, and then I'm going to continue with the rapid arrows in the next video.